Hi everyone, this is George Cow. Welcome to our highest work episode. This is episode number 2, and it's about managing our perspectives. And as always, I like to start with a quote. And this quote is from the Old Testament, actually, the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, Jewish Bible, Hebrew Bible too. The book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And I've seen other versions of this verse that says basically guard your heart because out of it springs the fullness of life, or it's basically the wellspring of your life. And in our podcast, right, our highest work is about sharing the best ideas to uplift you toward a more spiritually based way of career success, more spiritually based business success, and to create a community of wise and loving mutual help. So what I'm going to be talking about today, and in fact in the next 3 episodes, this one and the next 2 after this, I'm going to be sharing a framework for living a great life. And hopefully it's a framework that can help you capture all of your various pieces of life into one coherent whole. I think a lot about mind maps these days, so you can imagine a mind map of your life with these 3 episodes that helps you to kind of grab all the pieces of life that are important to you into one coherent whole so that you can do something with it. And these 3 pieces are managing our perspective, managing our priorities, and managing our patterns. Managing our perspectives, our priorities, and our patterns. And I call this, because it's managing, I call this the MP3 philosophy because it's managing our perspectives, managing our priorities, and managing our patterns. And today we're going to talk about managing our perspectives to start with. Okay, so as always, I encourage you to comment on this episode while you are watching it. If you're only listening to this, maybe through iTunes or whatever, you can go to our video page by going to this particular, the video page for this particular episode by going to ourhighestwork.com/2. That stands for episode 2. Now, if you're already watching the video, then you're in the right place for the episode page, and I welcome you to comment as you hear this episode. Any thoughts that I share that you want to remember and perhaps help others remember, just type a few words, and that will solidify your learning. That will help others solidify their learning, and it's super helpful for me to know what I'm saying that's really resonating with you, because I'm learning a lot by what resonates with you on what kinds of content I can share with you in the future that will be of more inspiration, more excitement, more resonance for you. So thank you so much for commenting as you watch this. So one of the things I'm going to start doing in at least the next couple episodes and see how this takes on is I'm going to start sharing just 2 minutes of either marketing or spiritual wisdom. Just 2 minutes, like a little quote or something like that. If the episode is about more personal development based or more spiritual based, then I'll share marketing wisdom for a couple minutes. If the episode instead is about more business and marketing type stuff, then I'll share a couple minutes of spiritual wisdom, so that we can always continually be thinking about how to integrate the two and align the two. And so today I'll be sharing a little bit of marketing wisdom for just a few minutes. And I have a quote to share with you from a book that I'm currently reading. The book is called Utility. That's with a Y-O-U-T-I-L-I-T-Y. Utility, except with Y-O-U. And the quote is the following. So the book Utility is about how to market by helping rather than through hype. A lot of marketing is hyped up, and this book is about how to market through helping rather than hype. And the quote is this: today's consumers are staring at an invitation avalanche, with every company asking for likes, for follows, for clicks, and for their attention. This is on top of all of the legacy of advertising that envelops us like a straitjacket. There are only 2 ways for companies to break through in an environment that is unprecedented in its competitiveness and cacophony. 1, they can be amazing, or 2, they can be useful. Pretty much all of them say that you can win hearts and minds by doing things differently, providing knock your socks off customer service, or fundamentally changing your corporate culture. What if, in the case of its solopreneurs, it'd be changing how remarkable you are as a person. The personality has to be amazing or remarkable. So it's one way of doing it, being amazing, right? What if instead of trying to be amazing, you just focused on being useful? What if you decided to inform rather than promote? You know that expression, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Right? Well, the same thing is true for marketing. If you sell something, you make a customer today. If you help someone, you make a customer for life. And I love that passage. And if you want more from this book, I'm just starting it, and so far it's pretty amazing and useful. You can find more about the book at www.utilitybook.com. That's Y-O-U, they spell it differently, Y-O-U-T-I-L-I-T-Y book.com, utilitybook.com. So I just want to say, I have experienced that in my own business over the last 5 years. I started my business learning from internet marketers who were very hypey. They were all about selling and promoting and yourself and very hyped up. And truthfully, I made a lot of sales doing hypey things, doing promotional, very hyped up, and using tactics to manipulate my audience into buying. I did a lot of that. I mean, unfortunately. I still came from a good heart, but I thought that I had to do that. That's what I was taught, that I have to do these things in order to make sales. And guess what? When I started doing those things, they do make sales. So a lot of people say, oh, if you want to be successful in life, successful in business, you just help people and you can be successful. Well, that's only one way. The other way, which a lot of people get rich, is by manipulating and by lying and by being aggressive. And that, tell you the truth, it makes a lot of sales. But what I've learned over 5 years is it makes sales, but it also changes you into such a person that you care so much about sales that you forget the word love, the word true, the idea of true service becomes diminished. And that affects your entire business. And so you get so focused on sales that you are indeed making sales, but guess what? Your clients or customers perhaps are not being truly served, and you don't get the word-of-mouth marketing that truly makes marketing obsolete in the future. Right? The holy grail is to get to a point in your business where you don't have to market anymore, because your customers and clients are so benefited that they do the marketing for you. They love you so much, that you've helped them so much, that why wouldn't they talk about it when the time is right for them and the people are right in front of them that would really benefit from you and your service. So that's the holy grail, is to get to a point where you no longer have to market. And if you go from the point of being hyped up and manipulating or using internet marketing tactics to sell and sell and sell, you make a lot of sales, but you become such a person that word of marketing doesn't really happen. So you have to always keep promoting, always have to keep selling more and more people, new people. It's very tiring. And so what I've learned over 5 years, finally I've woken up and I said, you know what, my values have always been about helping. I can actually help now out of my full heart, and also know what is enough for me to earn, and just fill my coaching program with just enough clients, because I'm also doing spiritual practice of learning how to lessen my needs and be even happier than I was before, even more fulfilled than I was before. So I'm now on this other path of building a business through true service and shedding as much of the lying and deceit and manipulation that I was doing before. I'm not perfect, but I'm always trying to shed more of that and go into true service and build a longer-term business from there, build true word-of-mouth marketing from there. So it feels so much better. It feels so much more fulfilling. I think I'm becoming the type of person I truly want to be, and I'm gathering the type of community that I truly want to be part of. So anyway, so that's I know that was more than 2 minutes. I'm learning as I'm doing this podcast how to time myself better. So, but I hope that was inspiring and helpful for you. So as I go on to the main piece of content that I wanted to share with you about managing our perspectives, let me just take a quick moment to thank those who are live with me as I'm recording this podcast. So thank you so much, Bob, And thank you to, I think it's Richard. Yes, Richard, thank you. And Marilyn are here. And there's probably others who are here who haven't had a chance to comment yet. But thank you also for your presence. And if you're watching the video, if you're on the video page, you can certainly comment, and I would be grateful to see your energy there, that you're here with me. Okay, so let's go on to the main part of our podcast content for today. And first, I want to talk about why manage our perspectives. Why am I even talking about this? Why is this important for you to hear? And this is what I'll say about this. Every wisdom tradition, every religion, every personal development path that I've ever studied, every wisdom tradition that I'm aware of, puts an extremely high priority on our thought life, on your thought life, my thought life. And the reason is because it's, of course, what seems to matter most is our actions, right? How you treat other people, how other people treat you, how we're creating things in the world. We're making changes in the world. That seems to matter the most because that's what we see. But this is why every wisdom truth, but what's interesting, of course, is that everything you've ever seen in the world, everything that you've ever seen that's been built came from thought first. It was in someone's idea that, oh, maybe I should build a computer that does this, right? I'm using this computer. Or anything you've ever done came from thoughts first. Maybe you have been thinking about it for a long time before you then finally did it. Nothing that you do, or almost nothing that you do, is random. Almost everything you do came from thought, either consciously or thoughts, subconscious thoughts that you allow to continue being there and strengthening itself. So every wisdom tradition that I'm aware of puts an extremely high priority on our thought life because, and the reason why they keep repeating it is because thoughts are invisible until they become action, and so we need to be especially careful about our thoughts and what we are planting and growing inside, because that's what comes outside. That's what comes and affects the world. That's what affects other people. That's what really affects your life. Okay? So this is why it's so important to manage our perspectives. What I mean by managing our perspectives is managing our thought life. Now, how do we manage our perspective, right? Why is it important for us to talk about it? Because everything you read, okay, everything you read either strengthens what you are thinking or changes what you're thinking. Okay, and what I'll say is this. What's interesting is this: everything you read makes it more okay for that thing to exist. Let me say this again. Everything you read makes it more okay for that article, for that idea to exist in the world. And now, let me tell you why. Whenever you click on an article, okay, and read it, you increase its visibility in the search engine so that other people are more likely to find that article and click it. Okay, same thing with everything you watch. If you watch this video, you're adding a view to this video and therefore making it just even slightly more possible for this video to be found. If you watch another video, if you watch yet another cute cat video, and now this is the 20th millionth view of that cat video, of course, you're strengthening the possibility of that cat video, and that's great. I love cat videos. We have 2 cats here. But sometimes we watch things that are not helpful. Sometimes we watch things that create more sadness or anxiety or whatever, and yet we are increasing its viewership in the world. We're making it even stronger for that video or that article we've read or that podcast we listened to. See, every time you listen to a podcast episode, you are signaling to iTunes or to Stitcher Radio or whatever podcast software you use. You're signaling to that podcast network that podcast is more important than other ones. So realize that everything you read, listen to, and watch is not only shaping your thought life, but it is also strengthening that piece of content in the world. So when the next time you are about to read an article or about to even click on one, or even next time you're about to download a podcast to listen to, or next time you're about to watch it, click on a video to watch it, ask yourself, do I want this piece of content to be shaping who I am and my thought life? And also, do I want to strengthen the viewership or the listenership or the readership of this piece of content in the world. Okay? And also, another thing we sometimes don't think about is email. Every email that you click on and read is an investment of energy and time on your behalf, right, towards a particular kind of life that you're going to have and a particular kind of world that's going to happen. And for those of us who believe that thoughts not only affect actions and therefore what happens in the world, but that thoughts themselves create some kind of vibrational frequency that science cannot currently measure and affects therefore the vibrational frequency of our culture, the culture that you're in. Okay, I actually happen to believe that, but science hasn't proven it yet. Okay, it's a theory at this point, or a hypothesis at this point. But I do believe that every thought you have and maintain and hold and strengthen, and everything you read is strengthening that thought, everything you watch is strengthening a particular thought, that creates more of that frequency in the world, right? And so email is the same thing. Every email you read, okay, every email newsletter that you open and read, you're investing time and energy, and you're strengthening that vibration in the world. So again, my question is, today, I am guessing today, you're probably going to consume, and yes, it's consuming, putting inside of you several pieces of content, whether that's emails you read or articles you click on and read, maybe it's podcast episodes you may listen to, maybe it's videos that you watch or television that you watch, okay? Today you're going to consume several pieces of content probably, or at least tomorrow you'll consume several pieces of content. Ask yourself before you consume each piece of content, before you read that article, before you listen to that thing, before you watch that thing, is this going to turn me more into the kind of person I want to be or less? And also, is this piece of content the type of thing I want to see more of in the world or less? And one simple way to think about this is, what kind of values do you want in your life and in the world? Okay, what kind of values do you want in your life and in the world? Because every piece of content that you consume, right, and makes this and really infuses your whole body with the ideas. Every piece of content you consume will either strengthen some values that you want or erode some values that you want. So in fact, I welcome you. If you're watching, if you're on our video page and watching, comment on this video and let us know what is one or two or three values that you want to strengthen in your life and in the world. It'd be wonderful for me to see this, and I'm sure it's wonderful for other people to see this in the comments area. Okay, so now let's go on and let's talk about how do we manage our perspective? So what are the different sources of input, right? I've already talked about some of those things, but let me kind of go over them one by one. Okay, number one I want to say is email, again, because I'm guessing that you check your email at least once a day. I know I check my email at least twice a day, probably several times a day, and I process my email twice a day. Actually, I process my email once a day at the end of the day. I do a little bit at the beginning, and then I check occasionally throughout the day to see if there's anything urgent and important. But anyway, email infuses our lives, okay? And so I'm going to ask you today to look at your email inbox and see what emails you are receiving on a regular basis. You are probably subscribed to some email newsletter or someone's email list. What are the regular emails that you get either every day or every week? Okay, I used to subscribe to a lot of hyped up marketers' email lists, whether they were marketing business ideas or they were marketing personal development ideas or spiritual, whatever. There are hyped up marketers in every single field, and I used to be subscribed to some of their email lists because guess what? Again, hyped up marketing works gangbusters, at least in the short term. It's not sustainable for the long term. For humanity, it's not sustainable, and even for your business, not. But hyped up marketing gets a lot of subscribers. It gets a lot of sales in the beginning, right? And then they have to keep doing it to be able to make a living. Otherwise, they don't build loyalty. So chances are, you are probably subscribed to some email lists of some hyped up marketers. And what I mean by hyped up marketers is when you see their subject lines, you have a little bit of sense that they're trying to manipulate you. because you probably click on it, or you probably want to. Maybe you salivate, literally, right? It's interesting. High B marketers have learned how to make you salivate, literally, out of greed, out of desire, something like that. So I have been practicing being sensitive to others' manipulation of me. I do my best in my marketing not to manipulate you. I make my subject lines, I try to make my subject lines inspiring, maybe even exciting if there's something truly exciting to be announced, but not everything I do is exciting, right? I mean, when I launched this podcast, I try to make the subject line more exciting because this is right? This is a one-time thing. Launching a podcast is pretty exciting, but some people make every subject line that they send exciting when it's just another promotion, it's just another thing that they're doing. And I try to make my subject lines honest. I don't want to stand out when I don't really need to stand out, truly, because I think of email as I'm sharing the stage with other people. One of the things about our culture is the legitimization of selfishness. Selfishness should not be legitimized. Generosity should be legitimized. Growing in virtues and kindness should be legitimized. Humility should be more legitimized than selfishness. But unfortunately, in marketing, selfishness has been legitimized, and so people are literally competing, trying to edge each other out by doing more exciting subject lines every single time, or manipulative subject lines. I think of subject lines, I think of my email as sharing the stage with other people's emails in your inbox. I don't want to stand out when I don't need to, but if you care about my content, you will probably look for my emails, and you'll probably look at it even if it's not exciting subject line, but it's honest one. I want you to look at my email and go, oh, the subject line really did match the content. It was, when I opened it, I didn't get surprised that, oh God, I was tricked into opening this email, and now how funny that they tricked me, and now I'm going to read it, and they're going to trick me some more to opening a link, and keep tricking you all the way through. No, I don't want to do that anymore, right? So think about and look at your email inbox and say, which emails are trying to manipulate me? And because if they're trying to manipulate you, they're probably embodying and modeling for you values that are not, I'm hoping, are not yours. If they're trying to manipulate you to do something, they are espousing values of that they should be able to control your attention. No, you control your own attention. They should simply offer humbly but authentically, excitingly when it's truly needed, what is of gift, what is a gift to you. And you can choose, you control your own attention, not them, right? You choose whether or not you want to partake of that. So that marketing should really be about giving control back to you, giving will back to you, empowerment back to you, rather than marketers thinking they should control the attention of their audience, which I think is it's scary, and I think it's not very sustainable. Okay, so so look at your emails, and I encourage you to unsubscribe from any emails whose values are not what you want to become. And the fear about unsubscribing is always, well, what if I miss out on something important, right? Have you thought of, oh, I don't want to unsubscribe because what if I miss out? I'll just keep tabs on this company or this thing. I'll just keep tabs on it. But here's the thing. If you don't read most of the emails they send you, why are you... If the universe wants you to get a message, it will get that message to you in other ways. You don't have to force yourself by staying subscribed. Simplicity is more important, I think, for our lives than the fear of missing out. See, remember this. When you are afraid that you're not going to subscribe, you're afraid, it's still about fear rather than about love and trust. Trust that whatever message truly needs to come through to you. So, for example, I believe what I'm saying is important, but I'm not going to go and message everyone I know on Facebook, please, you have to listen to my podcast. No, I will trust. I will do the marketing that is legitimately good to do, but I'm not going to spam other people and say, you have to listen to this. I will trust that those who have ears will hear, and that those who believe this is important will share this with their friends in an honest and authentic way. You know, so unsubscribe anyway from the ones that don't build the values that you want to become, and trust that whatever message truly is needed will get through to you. Okay, so that's one thing, is email is important. Another one is Facebook. When you use Facebook, do you just simply read whatever Facebook serves up in the newsfeed? If you're doing that, you're letting Facebook control your attention rather than you controlling your own attention and your own thought life. So I invite you to learn how to create interest lists. That's a tool on Facebook. It's called interest lists. Use that tool to consciously shape whose postings you see on Facebook and what brands postings you see on Facebook. I actually created a little video on YouTube that shows you how to use interest lists to do that. And probably the easiest way to find it is by going to google.com and searching George Kao video, use Facebook wisely. Just search that phrase, George Kao video, use Facebook wisely, and you'll probably find that video about how to use interest lists. Okay, other ones. I guess I'm coming to the end of this podcast time here. I'm still learning how to time myself, and I'll get better over time. Podcasts are another one. Why are you still subscribed to any podcast whose values you don't fully espouse? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid you might miss out. Just subscribe to, say, and I'm speaking to myself, just subscribe to, say, the 10 or 20. I subscribe right now to like 55 podcasts just in case I miss out on something. No, I'm not going to. I'm speaking to myself too, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to subscribe to maybe the 20 podcasts that I keep cycling through. And when I subscribe to a podcast, by the way, I don't listen to every episode. I subscribe to, say, let's say the top 20 so that I can see what episode just came up and see if I want to hear it. If not, I go to an older one with a type subject that I want to hear. But be conscious about which podcast you listen to, because it shapes your thought life. It shapes your values. Videos. Which YouTube channels are you subscribed to? Again, don't be afraid of missing out. If it's truly important, friends will share it with you. The universe will share it with you through some channel. So just subscribe to the ones. If you want to see what my favorite videos are, okay, I actually have liked a lot of other people's videos and favorited them. You can just go to google.com and search George Kao YouTube and just go to my YouTube channel, and there you'll see what my favorite videos are. I have something like 200 favorite videos, so you can spend a lifetime just watching the videos that I enjoy about, you know, spiritual growth or world betterment or whatever. Okay, books is another one. Are you reading regularly? Books right now. Books are unique because books are more thoughtfully put together and edited than just simply blog articles, okay, or simply social media. Books have been put together by a team of people who thoughtfully thought this should be something that's really worthwhile in the world. So I ask you to continually be reading at least one book of some kind, and books are so powerful because you spend more time reading a book, right? When you finish a book, you will have spent more time with that author, with that idea, than watching any single video or listening to any single podcast episode or whatever. So books have a powerful effect of shaping your consciousness. So be conscious what kind of books you're reading. Are they turning you into the type of person you want to be? Okay, another one, people. Start noticing which people you talk to on a regular basis, over email or over the phone, over video chat or in person, okay? Because the people that you talk to shape your consciousness very powerfully. Events is another one. What kind of events do you attend? Notice, look at your schedule. Look at the schedule and look at what events you go to on a regular basis, because the events also espouse particular worldview, values, right? Is that what you want to become? And the people who are there, of course, also affect you deeply. So, okay, so let me actually now wrap up the episode because I've kind of run out of time. I had some other ideas I wanted to share with you, but maybe in the future I will. Basically, in our Highest Work podcast, in this podcast and community, I'm going to keep bringing us back to values such as learning and growth. You can become anything you want to become in this life. Trust that just by learning and growing and continuing to consume good information and practicing whatever you're learning. I'm going to keep bringing back to spirituality and the primacy of spirituality in our lives, because everything we see and experience is materiality. But spirituality is, I believe, a true world that is more subtle than what science can currently measure and more subtle than most of our senses can measure, but it profoundly affects what happens in our lives. So I keep bringing us back to that. I'll keep bringing us back to the importance of kindness, simplicity, humility, because I don't think there's enough of that in the world, especially in the marketing space, and authenticity as well. So finally, to wrap up this episode, just a couple of housekeeping items. If you want to be reminded, as I've talked about how this community works, I talked about that in the previous episode. The community works really in two ways. One way is through the live episodes that happen every Tuesday and you can check the schedule of live episodes at www.ourhighestwork.com and then click on episodes there. But the community really primarily is about the live attendance and the commenting that happens there. But secondarily, we also have a discussion forum that you can partake of when you're not on the live episodes, and you can get there by going to www.ourhighestwork.com /community, and that'll bring you to the community. That'll give you the link to the community forum. But if you possibly can, show up to our live episodes, because that's where members of this community are commenting away, talking with each other in real time, and even shortly after the episode ends, right? So, for example, today I'm seeing Bob is here, Kevin is here, Marilyn is here, Richard is here as well, and those are the four today who are commenting actively on this episode, so thank you so much. The other housekeeping item is, if you do like this particular episode and you want this message to be spread more fully in the world, you can certainly make a difference there by sharing this episode on social media if it's appropriate. The other thing that you could really help is by writing a review of this episode, or a review of this podcast, and you can do that by going to www.ourhighestwork.com /review. ourhighestwork.com/review, and that's where you can review the episode. Every review that comes through will probably increase the viewership of this podcast by another 10 people. You could change the lives of 10 more people by just adding a review, and so that's I'm grateful, of course, for you doing that. And I will end with a quote. Actually, this is a quote that I mentioned in the first episode, but I'll just repeat it again here in this one because it's very relevant. And it's a quote by Mahatma Gandhi, one of the great civil rights leaders in the world of our time. And he said this: "Keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive, because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive, because your behavior become your habits. Keep your habits positive, because your habits become your values. And keep your values positive, because your values become your destiny." I wish you well, and I look forward to being with you again in our next episode. Be well. Thank you.